In the instructions, I suggest using a backstitch. This is a really good stitch for making sure that you don't get kind of holes, and for when you have got kind of jagged lines. So we've got a couple of curves, we've got a bendy bit there, as well as some straight lines. And a backstitch is a really good one that you could do for that. Some other ones that you might like to choose is a simple running stitch or a stem stitch. And both of those stitches can be found in my embroidery guide, which is included in your kit, or you can have a look at some of the instruction videos on my website. So I'm going to demonstrate a backstitch. And when you first look at your design, have a think about where you are going to do your stitching. It may be that you, for this one, I'm going to start and do the head and then perhaps move on to the body and the legs and things. Or if it is a piece of writing, you might want to follow it as if you are doing the signature, for example. You want to kind of get a flow where you don't have to keep on stopping. So for example, I wouldn't want to start just on these antlers. I might want to do the one side of the antler and then around before doing the extra little bit, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start with the head. Now I know that I want to make the nose red, so I think I'm going to go around this bit of head, up here and down, and do a curve. So I'm going to start at this side here. Bringing your needle up from the back, we're going to start by doing a running stitch. So you want to try and keep your stitches a consistent size. So I'm going to go for about 1/2 centimetre. Just do a simple stitch. Now remember, these lines will be removed at the end. So if your line doesn't lay exactly on top of the guideline, that's okay. I'm just gonna zoom in slightly. There we go. Okay, so you can see my first stitch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my needle a bit further along, as if I'm about to start another stitch. And you want the distance to be between this stitch and where you bring up your needle about the same length. Put it all the way through. But instead of taking a stitch forward, you're doing back stitch. So I'm going to take my stitch back down in the same hole as where that thread goes in. And that is why this is a really good stitch for this type of embroidery, because it doesn't leave any gaps. So I'm going to come up again, trying to keep my length of my stitch about the same. Pull through and then go back down into that stitch. And you can see that I'm starting to get a neat little line. Now when you are going around curves, you may need to alter the length of your stitch a little bit. You need to use smaller stitches when you're going around curves. So you can see I've got a bit of a curve coming up here. So if I was going to keep it the same length, zoom in again, if I was going to keep it the same length, I would bring my needle up there. However, it's going to go straight across and it's not going to get that nice curve. So I'm in fact going to do a slightly smaller stitch just to get that curve in. Okay, so where did you come from? So I'm going to continue around. And it's that simple, really. I mean, if you've chosen to do a piece of writing, particularly if it's a signature perhaps of a loved one that's no longer with us, or perhaps you've decided to write a little message to someone special, then it can be a bit trickier because you've got more curves. But with drawings, simple drawings like this, as long as you have copied the pattern so it's big enough for you to see, and it's big enough for you to stitch along. It is really quite simple but effective. Now sometimes the stick and stitch can feel a little bit thick to go through, but it's such a good way of being able to transfer a design. And this is going to be my last stitch here, as I have gone around the whole head. There we go. So what I want to show you now is that I'm going to finish off this thread at the back, and I'm going to start again on the body. So if we turn it around to the back, okay, just to finish off this thread that I have, I'm going to pass my needle underneath some of the stitches that I've done. And as you pull through, you'll see this loop beginning to form. Pass my needle under there, and that will just do a little knot so that I can snip it off. Don't snip it too close. And I have done the head.